What is up, everybody? Alex from WMD here, back at you again, and this time we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the Javelin Envelope and VCA combo. This video spurred from an idea from a YouTube comment asking about the perfect settings for an AR envelope with Javelin. So Javelin is your typical ADSR, but there's a way to set it up to make it more of an AD style as well as a AR style envelope. If that's the kind of thing you want for the patch you're using. Very versatile envelope, and we're also going to use the carbon filter, and using those two together we're going to create something that would resemble like a low pass gate. So yeah, let's just dive into it. Alright, so as you can see I have my Javelin, my carbon here. What we're going to do is we're going to make a real percussive patch, and we're going to listen to the difference between putting the carbon before the VCA as well as after, and we're also going to use the we're going to demonstrate the difference between ADSR and AD and AR. So first things, we'll just make a little sound here. Alright, that's cool. That's going to be what we're starting with. That's the phase displacement oscillator. It does have the triple bipolar VCA attached that's allowing it to have that cool modulation out of output 4. We're just going to run that right into Javelin right now. And we'll go out of Javelin right back into the mixer. And then we'll hit Javelin with some gates from Metron. Right now we'll just do some triggers just so we can hear it going. Alright, cool. So one of the nice things about Javelin is that we can also use it as an envelope for our filter. So instead of just running straight into the VCA now, we're going to run into the filter. We'll go out of the filter into Javelin's input, out of Javelin into the mixer, and then we're going to go out of the envelope output here. We're going to run that into the FM input on the carbon. And now we're going to get it to follow that. And I wanted to do this so you could see the difference between the ADSR modes and the AD and the AR modes. So real quick, ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, release. So first we have an attack phase. That means how fast it's going to take to get to full level of the envelope. Decay is the time it's going to take to reach the sustain level. Sustain is a level, so that's not time based. That one is totally just a level based, and then we go into the release phase. So to show that off real quick, we'll clear our channel. We'll do a nice long 100% gate across a few channels here. Bring our channel back up. Turn sustain level down. Now we can really hear it, right? So you can hear we have a fast attack. We're decaying down to that sustain level, and then at the end we have a fast release. So I can slow that release down a little bit. But it really helps with hearing that filter because you can kind of hear the squelchiness come down, you know. Alright, so the next thing we're going to make is an AD envelope. And so this envelope is basically going to ignore the sustain part. This is going to take the sustain function and just say it doesn't really exist. The only two controls we're really going to mess with are the attack and the decay settings. In order to do this, we're going to turn sustain all the way down, release all the way down. Just for now so we can hear what it sounds like. And right now you can even hear that basically what's happening is we're going through that decay phase and it's going all the way to 0 before the gate ends. And so if we had sustain up, right, it would sustain there, but because we have sustain all the way down, this is basically a really nice envelope to use with triggers. Or if you're going to use longer gates, it will respond like a trigger no matter what, right? Because it's always going down. Always going down to 0, where our sustain level is. So another thing we can do is just, let's say we just want to use a trigger, right? So we take this out. Alright. So right now, our decay phase, our gate is so short that it's not getting through the decay phase. So that's what this mode switch is for. We hit that, and now no matter what, we're going to get through the attack and the decay phase. So this is great for like percussive style stuff where you just want to use triggers. And now you want to use the decay knob to control the length of the decay. Alright, so that's an AD envelope. That's attack decay. So now let's go to an attack release envelope. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn decay as fast as it can, as fast as it can go. We're going to turn sustain all the way up. So that way we have an ASR, right? So it's attack, it will hold on until the release. So we turn the release up a little bit, decay all the way down. And we can leave that mode switch on, no problem there. We're just going to go through here and do a longer gate. And now basically, right, that's just going to be on until it's off. We can do a slower attack, that kind of thing. But what's cool about having this switch on now is we can also just hit it with a trigger. And we're going to get all the way through the attack phase and then go straight to the release phase. So now we can get super snappy just using the attack and the release controls. And if we want to slow down that attack, we can without having to have a longer gate. So that's really nice. So we're going to leave it in this mode for the rest of the, pretty much for the rest of the demo. And we're just going to use A and R. So here we go, super snappy. One of the cool things about Javelin is it has the different envelope ranges as well as accents. It also has time ranges, right? So here's like the fastest it can go, just a tiny little blip. Give it a bunch of release in that mode. That's the longest it'll go in that. But now we have lots of real tight types of envelopes. We can do quicker stuff here. All right, that sounds pretty good. Let's go to the middle range. The middle range still gets really snappy, but it goes a little bit longer. And I think it just gives you a little bit more range of control when it comes to using the release knob there. All right, cool. So what you're hearing now is you're hearing the filter go into the VCA of the Javelin, and Javelin's envelope is controlling both the VCA and the filter with the exact same envelope, right? And so what we're getting is the as the Javelin opens and closes, it's also opening and closing the cutoff of the filter. We have the resonance pretty high. That's why we're hearing the squelch, kind of like a chirp in there, right? We turn this up a little more. We get into more Pac-Man zone real quick, or more funky zone, however you want to look at it. But one of the things about doing it this way is that right now that filter is going into the VCA, and the VCA is always cutting it off, right? So even if we turn it all the way up to self-oscillation, we're still not going to hear any longer of an envelope or any tails that are going to go beyond this VCA. So one of the things I like to do to kind of mimic that low pass gate, percussive resonance and feedback sound is switch the order that we put the filter and the VCA in. So instead of going straight into the filter from the oscillator, we're going to go into the VCA first, and then out of the VCA, we're going to go into the filter. Out of the filter, we'll go back into the mixer. And now, if I bring up this channel, you can hear already that the filter is like oscillating out way past how long the Javelin is, right? So I'm going to turn resonance down a little bit, and let's turn this up a little bit higher. And what we can do is tune the carbon to something relative or even the same note. All right, so I had it at self-oscillation for a second there. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add some pitch information to both of these just to make it a little bit more interesting, hopefully. And I just need another smaller cable here to plug into this Hosa guy. We're going to run that into the same volt proctive on the carbon as well. That's pretty cool. Let's shorten this up a bit. And now you can really hear that pitch coming out. So let's add some pitch information. We're going to do unquantized. Okay, I like that. Okay, so let's take the resonance all the way down. So this is our oscillator. This is what we're hearing come from PDO, right? And then as I turn up the resonance, we're getting that resonant filter sound on top of that. And what's nice about using it in this way is now we're using that oscillator. That oscillator is getting cut off by the VCA in the really short envelope. And then when we're pushing that audio, that real percussive audio into the filter, we're basically pinging that resonance, right? So we're giving that filter something to resonate on. So if we unplug the oscillator, you don't hear anything until we turn resonance all the way up, right? So that's the filter sound when the resonance is all the way up. So that's self-oscillation. And that's basically what we're introducing on top of this oscillator sound, but you're not going to hear it until you ping it with some audio. So this is like stimulation, right? This is something to give it a little bit of something to resonate off of. And then as we turn the resonance up, we're getting longer tails. So in prep for this video, I watched some low pass gate demos, and one of the ones that I love is the Buchla Bongo video from Make Noise. And that's kind of the thing that they're showing off, is like the more feedback you have, it's what it's called on their low pass gate, the longer tail you get. And so feedback is resonance in a filter, right? So resonance and feedback are synonymous. They're the same thing. And so this is kind of a cool little thing to use your filter after this VCA, and now you can use that resonance as a little bit more tail. This would sound super cool with like delay or reverb on it, something like that. We can get real snappy with that release there. But then, yeah, just with that extra bit of resonance on the top with no VCA after the fact. Really nice. So one more thing you could do is you could use another envelope and another VCA, turn this guy all the way up, right? So you're getting the resonance, turn resonance all the way up, you're getting the self-oscillation, and then you could dial that in with another envelope. But the fact that you can just turn resonance down a little bit and then really mess around with how much resonance or feedback you're using with really short envelopes of the VCA to oscillator going into it just gives you kind of a cool, unique, and really natural sound, right? So I think if you were to use a VCA on top of this, you might just lose a little bit of that natural sound, whereas this is just naturally that resonance actually decaying. There's no time function, and there's nothing telling it what to do. It's just physics, which is pretty cool. All right, so just for fun, we're going to hear what this sounds like with a kick drum, right? It might sound terrible, but I think it might sound cool, so we're going to find out. Ooh, pitch it down a little bit. Ooh, I'm into that. Sounds great. And I know we don't always have to do the 4-on-the-floor pattern, but you know, sometimes, man, it just sounds cool. All right, so just to reiterate real quick, we'll switch the order of the filter and the Javelin. We'll switch the order of the filter and the VCA and see what that sounds like. So again, just here we go. Listen to how short Javelin is and the oscillator sound is compared to the filter, but the filter's still kind of just ringing out in a natural way. Now we'll switch the order. Ooh, that's just filter, no VCA, right? So nice and long. But now we'll go out of the VCA. And now all you get is those super short chirps. One thing we didn't get into is accents, and we can just do it really quick, right? I do want to switch it, though, because I love the way it was sounding. So we're just going to switch this back over here. Take the input into Javelin, out of Javelin, into Carbon one last time, because that just sounds so nice. And now what we're going to do is just add some accents. Oh, here was that cable I was looking for. Just blend it in with the white. Great. All right, so we're going to take, just so we can see it real easily, I'm going to go out of Metron, and we're going to run that into the accent input of Javelin, and we'll use some 100% gates here, and we'll just add a couple more. Ooh. Ooh, nice. Sounds cool. What's our accent level at? I think we can turn it up a little bit. Cool. The envelope amount is in the middle, so we turn it up a little bit more. And yeah, one thing is if we are trying to keep this in tune, moving that filter knob, probably not the best idea, but you can add a little bit of chirp with that FM, no problem. Bring that kick drum back in. Ready? And one last thing we haven't done yet is add some release CV. So we're going to take Volterra, we're going to run that into the release input. And now we can just modulate. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Super long in the beginning. Maybe make it super short. All right, so that is it. I hope it gives you some ideas on how to use Javelin in your own rig. For these concepts, you definitely don't need these exact modules. You can use pretty much any ADSR envelope, any filter. Javelin is going to give you those modes, though. Like a lot of those envelopes that you're going to get somewhere else are not going to have the different levels, accent inputs, as well as the AD mode that lets you go through that whole thing and use triggers. And then Carbon just sounds great, so I highly recommend it. As always, please like and subscribe, and we will see you all next time. Peace.